Hello, welcome to another Talk Wildlife video interview, and my guest today needs no introduction in his own house. I'm talking about, of course, Rick Simpson from WaderQuest. Hiya Rick, how are you doing?
Not so bad, Alan. Yourself?
Good, I'm very well, thank you. Of course, you're now a legend in your own bathroom, given that, you know, plenty of waders worldwide or a lot to WaderQuest, given the amount of work WaderQuest done to actually fund various projects. So for that, I'm sure the waders, and certainly I am, very pleased.
So am I. And I should say also that the cat actually knows who I am now as well, which is actually quite useful.
The cat does?
The cat does. So that's how famous I've become.
It won't stop the cat ignoring you, because that's what cats do.
That's very true. Very true indeed. Yes.
Right. Okay. So the reason we want to talk today is, again, related to your fundraising, related to WaderQuest. It is, of course, a weekend that should be on every birdwatcher's calendar. It's, in my eyes, as important as Bird Fair and Migration Day and all the rest of them. And that, of course, is Wader Conservation World Watch, which I got right. 10 out of 10 for saying it right in the first place.
Well done, you. It is.
What can I say? So, Wader Conservation World Watch takes place 31st of October, 1st of November.
It is this year, yes.
Yeah. Yep. Been going for how long now?
Well, the first one was 2014. See, the idea of it is that when we were way back when traveling around the world and all the rest of it, once we'd finished, inevitably we felt a bit of a sort of a low ebb, sort of what are we going to do now? And we decided that we would continue with our Wader conservation theme. And we had this brilliant idea of, because nobody else was doing it at the time, Wader, or what we're going to call it, World Wader Day. I mean, yes, fair, you know, that was what we were going to do. And we were planning and building up to making World Wader Day. And we were going to do that in the first weekend of, originally we were going to do it the 1st of November, because that was the day that we started, 1st of November 2012. But we thought we'd try and make a weekend of it, because it gives people, if you stick to just one day, it kind of ties people down and a lot of people won't be able to join. So we thought we'd make a weekend of it. And as we were building up to it all, this great World Wader weekend, somebody went and created World Shorebirds Day and announced it before we could. And it kind of pulled the rug from underneath us. So we had to have a rethink. And what we thought was, well, let's make this a celebration of Wader conservation. Not of the birds themselves, wonderful as they are. We'll make this about the people who are involved in Wader conservation. A thank you, if you will, for that. So every year since then, we've done the first weekend in November, because it's, you know, the one that's closest to the 1st of November, and you know, we've asked people to go out on those on that weekend and send us their details, etc. This year, of course, the 1st of November actually falls on a weekend, but it happens to be the Sunday. So that is why it's crept into October this year.
Right, right, okay. So you touched on what you want people to do, or what you would like people to do. So let's just put that into context first. And then when we've done that, we'll talk about previous years, because I know they've been highly successful. So first of all, what is Wader Conservation World Watch? And you may not know, but I have got it written down here so I can keep glancing down, because there's no ways I'm going to remember 4 words in that order at my age. So first of all, what is it? What happens? What are you asking people to do? Well,
you'll be pleased to know that because it's got Wader Conservation World Watch sticking out of your right ear, or left ear as I look at it, I'm never going to forget this, but believe it or not, I sometimes have trouble remembering that combination. It's a ridiculously long name, and I wish we could have made it shorter. It is what it is. So it is a ridiculously simple concept. There's no signing up to, you know, to register. You don't have to join a website or anything at all. All you have to do, quite literally on one or both of those days, go out somewhere and look at waders. The second thing you need to do is remember what you've seen or write it down. And the third thing is very simple. You send us an email. It's waderquest@gmail.com is the one we use because that's the one that's open most of the time. So it's that simple. That's all you have to do. Go and see the birds, which is the fun bit. Just tell us what you saw, where you saw it, and with whom. Because one of the most important things of this is not just about the birds. It's about people being involved. And so we create a roll of honor so that everybody that takes part, their name will appear on that as well as the birds that they have seen. So it's that simple, really.
Brilliant. And what is a big part of the title is world. So I know from previous years, because I've taken part now for quite a few years, but I know from previous years you invite people worldwide to do this.
Yes, wherever you happen to be in the world. And there's something quite important about this, and it's been highlighted this year, and that is that we're not setting this up as a competition. We don't want people thinking, oh, I must get the maximum number of birds, because what would happen then was everybody would sort of congregate. We'd all fly to Pak Thale in Thailand and do our list from there. The point really is to get people involved. So the most important thing is being involved, not how many birds you see. Now, it's going to be highlighted this year because Elise and I, for reasons that I won't go into now, we will be self-isolating. So we won't even be allowed out of the house. Well, I think we can go in the garden. But as we live in Buckinghamshire, the chances of getting a list greater than 0 are pretty slim. But we will do it. And that is the point. Wherever you happen to be, if you're going to see 0 species, 1 species, 30-something species, each one of those lists, if you can call a list of 0 a list, each one of those lists is as equally important as the other, regardless of the number of birds you've got on it, because you stood up to say, I care.
Right. Okay. So can I just double check then? So it's people going out, having fun, sending lists to birds, no competition.
No competition whatsoever.
With. Can you cancel that trip to Thailand? Yeah, I don't need it anymore. It's evidently not a competition.
You can make it.
Hey, yeah.
Well, here's the interesting thing, actually, because you can make it a competition. Because our friends at WaderQuest South Africa, they have done just that. They've colluded, if that's the right word, with a thing called Bird Lasser, which is a bit like eBird and then Bird Track, that sort of thing. And they've made it into an event so that people can, be putting their information in. And I noticed on the thing that they sent me as a sort of a precursor that there is a top 5 birders. So you can make it a competition. And another thing you can do is count the birds. And again, we don't ask people to count because not everybody wants to. Yeah. But if you do, if you're the sort of person that can't look at a flock of lapwings and want to know how many there are, by all means count them and tell us what you've seen, because we will include it in our summary, our newsletter, which we do, which includes a full list of the birds, where they've all been seen, and obviously the roll of honor and some bits and pieces about sort of some of the people's experiences around the world.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's a great event, and just to put in context, I mean, the year before last, I chose not the best area to go wader watching in the world, although it might sound it, which is the east coast of Norfolk, and I saw 1 species. Last year I made up for it. I think I saw 16 species last year. Do you know off the top of your head what the total number of waders have been seen worldwide over this weekend?
The total number over all the weekend, because it does vary, because sometimes we get people who go and see black stilts in New Zealand, sometimes we've had ibis bill, and also people happen to be on birding trips, which of course they probably won't be this year. So the total numbers, we get I think last year, if you just bear with, as they say, last year we had 135 species. So I think you can probably add at least 10 species to that, of ones that we've had just once or have dropped off or we didn't happen to get last year. 140, 150. And of course, that now includes the button quails, which means the world list of waders, including those that are extinct or thought to be extinct, is 252 by my reckoning. So button quails are added into the equation now, which theoretically could boost the numbers. However, they're quite difficult to see, so probably won't make a huge difference, if I'm honest.
Yeah, too right. And how many different countries have you had participants from over the years? Do you know?
Again, it varies, but I think last year was 32 different countries. Sometimes we get people, as I say, who happen to be on a trip. For example, last year, Sri Lanka was involved for the first time because Elise and I happened to be there. We went and decided to do our weekend. We didn't just go for the weekend, but that's where we were. So we added some interesting birds, slightly more than we're going to add this year.
Yeah, I think you know what they say, what goes around comes around.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah, look at me, I've been to Sri Lanka.
Yeah, and where are you this year?
Yeah. Yes.
So, right, okay, so lots of species of wader being seen. What's the rarest one you've had seen over such a weekend?
Well, it has to be the black stilt, because that's the rarest wader in the world. So the fact that we've had black stilt mentioned by a Brit on holiday, I have to say.
Right.
So there you are, yeah, and most years somebody reports spoon-billed sandpiper, because very often there are people at Pactale. I say it would be very interesting to see what happens this year, because people won't be moving around, so it really will be people looking for their own birds. And what we do sort of encourage people to do is, if they know of a specialty, rather than go out and get 15 species of common birds that everybody else is going to get, then head out, go off foraging around for your inland dotterel or your button quail or Andalusian hemipode, which is a button quail, of course. That go off and try and find those ones that are slightly more difficult, so that the species list can perhaps be bolstered a little. But never forget that the reason you're going out is because you are demonstrating that you are aware that there is a problem with waders in the world. And that is really what all this is about, fundamentally, more than anything.
Absolutely. So the key message to leave people with is, by doing this, and it's great fun, whether you do it as a competition, whether you do it with friends, whether you do it with family, or whether you do it on your own, which is what I did last year because I've got no mates. You can go out and you can have great fun watching waders, but the key message is, this is basically to show an appreciation for waders. It's to show you care about waders, as you rightly put on your website, and it's also to show support for the likes of BirdLife Australia and Birding Canada and Wildfowl and Wetland Trust in this country. They're all putting lots and lots of effort into conserving waders. So it's a great incentive. It's a great weekend. I wish you all the luck in the world seeing your possibly one lapwing flying over your house. And thanks for talking to me about it. And I'll speak to you very, very soon.
I shall look forward to that. And as far as you having no mates, it's not quite true. You have got one mate, little me, but I happened to be in Sri Lanka last year and lost on this year, so we're a bit.
Yeah, and you still only just picked my numbers, he says. So just before we go, quick reminder, people just go out and then they email you. So they can find the email on your website. It's waderquest.net, and they can basically send you the list, and that's all they have to do.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Rick. Take care and good luck with the weekend. I can't wait to send you my list.
Yes, well, I can't wait to see it. Thanks very much, Alan.
Take care. Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.